Alright guys, welcome back. Welcome back to another news related video for you guys. Boy, this is gonna be a pretty big one, and probably not a very good one, but I want to make this video for you guys. We're gonna talk about McDonald's and the future of this place and all that. If you guys haven't already, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. I am trying to get to 1K subs. I'm at 617 subs right now. Thank you guys for the support. I am going to work on, making you guys some reward videos as we continue to grow the channel and all that. But, yeah, I know things are kind of difficult right now with the internet and stuff, but we're making it through, So, yeah, anywho, if you guys, haven't, like I said already, guys, like I said, make sure you guys are subscribed and all that, and make sure you guys are still subscribed in case, you get unsubscribed by accident, because people have been reporting that happening with channels, so, because, YouTube, doesn't seem like it's fixing a lot of the problems they've been having. And, speaking of which, I think it's time to go ahead and talk about another corporation that doesn't seem to be fixing a lot of their problems, and that is McDonald's. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say it right now. McDonald's is, pretty shitty anymore. It's a pretty shitty company. Like, it is not great at all anymore. Like, it is not great. I've done my reviews in the past and all that of the place. I actually have done, one review, and then, I did a re-review. Honestly, and, I don't know if I still stand by the re-review or not, but I brought up, stuff like, they brought back their McDonald Land characters in the commercials and stuff like that, which they're still kind of using at times. But, for the most part, yeah, McDonald's just sucks. Like, it is just bare bones. You guys see, for one example here, you guys see this restaurant here? This is a modern McDonald's. This is what McDonald's looks like now. McDonald's used to look a lot different than this. They used to have their, their big roofs, their red roofs, and their French fry gutters and all that on their buildings. And actually, even before that, they had their, their white buildings with their golden arches around them, they looked a lot different. And now they look like it looks like a fucking Starbucks, which is basically the whole point of this. They're trying to, be Starbucks. The problem is they're not Starbucks. They are a fast food place, and, they were once kind of, more aimed for kids. Now it's just like, I don't even know what the hell they even are anymore. And a lot of people are like this. A lot of people are just like this. And, a lot of people are boycotting McDonald's because of all the shit that's been going on with them, I mean, like I said, they remodeled their locations, and they look like shit now. And I mean, they've been doing this forever. I mean, they're, even their original design, some of the buildings got remodeled, but, but it felt like they were, at least keeping a lot of them around. But, since, the 2010s and all that have come around, they have pretty much remodeled almost all their locations. It's like at this point, they don't even want to keep any of them around. Like, you guys can't at least keep a few of them around, I mean, even if they're shitty, at least, if they want to go modern, I'm not saying it's a great thing with this design. Because again, it looks too much like other restaurants, but at least, kind of like, at least try to like, I don't know, like, keep it, you can keep some of them around that have the older design, but that's the problem. They're not really doing that anymore. Now they're like just going out of their way to remodel even their older locations. Like they don't care anymore. They just don't care. And I mean, they're even remodeling their fucking tourist attraction locations. Yeah, that's right. They're tourist attraction locations. So like Texas and all that. Texas had their fancy, themed McDonald's, which were tourist attractions. They had an animal one, a Happy Meal one, an alien one. Or actually, no, wait, it wasn't an alien one. That's a different state. No, they had an astronaut one. They kept the astronaut, but they shut that other one down and moved all the shit over to a boring location. And they've been doing this nonstop. Even in Missouri, they've remodeled. There was a couple themed locations. There's still at least one. It's a Route 66 location, but I don't know if what it looked like before, because they actually remodeled that one in like the mid 2000s. So yeah, sorry about that too. I don't know what happened there. Kind of glitched out there. I don't know what happened. But yeah, like I said, they don't give a shit. They're just like, again, they are fucking remodeling every location. So it's like, so by 2030, we could be at the end of an era of seeing like their red roof designs and all that. It could be the end of an era for that, because they're becoming so rare now. Like, it's becoming impossible to find them. Like, that's the thing. And like I said, the original design, they had for like the 50s and most of the 60s, because they started using the red roof looks, in the late 60s, like the end of the 60s and early 70s. Which were some of the, 50s and 60s ones were tore down and remodeled, but most of them kept the older looks. Not with, with what it's going with now. But the remodelification is not the only thing that people don't like. They don't like that, that the characters are all gone. Like, they got rid of Ronald McDonald, they got rid of, all the McDonaldland characters, and I'm just like, I mean, some people are like, well, you shouldn't encourage kids to be eating, all this junk food. And I'm like, okay, number one, there is nothing wrong with having McDonald's every so often. There's nothing wrong with that. And number two, even if, they have that, it's like, we can, like, they can make healthier options for kids too. They can, like, add more stuff to the menu. And number three, I'm like, I'm an adult. Many people, like, are adults, and they want to enjoy a fast food place where they can sit down and hang out with their friends, And it's becoming a lot harder to do that, when these places just look so generic. Like you don't even want to be inside of them, because they make you feel sad, And that's kind of the problem, And another thing is the pricing is getting expensive. Now, you can still get some deals at McDonald's at times, but like taking your family there not to get food is kind of expensive. And when they do have their throwback menu things, they actually charge you a lot of money. Like, I think I've spent like $14 for like the adult Happy Meals and stuff. Even the cups, like, they were charging me. Like, I couldn't even buy the cups separate. I had to order food. And I wanted to just buy the cups separate. And I was just pissed about that, because, by the way, they, You know, they do have their cups they were selling do have the red roofs, and the commercials they did too. So I was thinking maybe they were gonna start going, into back to that route. But I am gonna bring up kind of an issue with that in a second. But I'm kind of just talking. I'm just talking about. I know I'm kind of just blabbering on here, but I'm kind of talking about more of the issues people are having. But like I said, the pricing's bad too, and even the food. Like the food is it's so small now. Like there's not as many options for food anymore. As somebody who has done, videos and stuff, showing off food and all from these places, there's not much of an option for food. I mean, you can get fries and all that, but, compared to, even Burger King, you can, get, onion rings, you can get fries and all that. You can get, Arby's, you could get curly fries, you could get that, you can get regular, and then even, with Burger King, you could get, the chicken fingers and all, which are kind of just regular fingers, but I think you can get spicy, too, and they do a lot more stuff with their food. McDonald's isn't doing a lot of that, and even their McFlurries, they barely have any flavors anymore. They have, Oreo and an M&M. I think they pretty much got rid of most of the stuff. Occasionally they'll bring back, their what was it called, a Sherma shake, which is for St. Patrick's Day, and then they have, a Grimace one, and then they had one this year, but, to celebrate McDonald's Land, which was a cool idea, but for the most part, they barely, are doing a lot of that anymore, and, like I said, it's just not a lot of food, and their fries, I don't know why, but their fries are starting to not taste very good. They're not tasting that good. And, not gonna be because I've ate at McDonald's a lot, I actually haven't eaten there recently, you're probably asking, well, why am I saying I hate it if I ate there? Well, that was more for the McDonald's Land stuff and then the Monopoly stuff, because I'm trying to get more money to that. Maybe it'll encourage them to bring that shit back more. But so that's why I kind of did all that. But no, I mean the other food doesn't taste bad. It's just the fries. The fries are now people have said the fries have changed since the 80s and all that. But but I didn't grow up in the 80s, so I didn't, I don't know what they tasted like then. I'm kind of curious about that, but I did, have, I've had the fries in the past, but anymore they taste like they're freaking leftover shit. They're just, they've been sitting out too long or something. I've been noticing that a lot of food, I think I've talked about this at the hospital too. I've had hospital food. Because I was hospitalized with my medicational stuff, and then my arm, the tater tots and all that, taste like shit, and they don't have a lot of options anymore. Their menus are a lot smaller, So I'm just again, I'm it's just it's kind of ridiculous, It's just I mean, to be fair with that though, you're it's a lot more annoying, because I'm pretty sure some of our tax money goes to some of that shit. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it goes to, helping with that kind of stuff. Because I think we help pay for the hospital stuff. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I could be wrong, but I know it goes to the schools. It goes to the, which I can't say much about the schools. I haven't really been to the schools, because I don't go to school anymore. And then, we had, we got the schools and all that, and then we have, the roads and stuff, but I'm pretty sure it also pays for the hospital stuff, but I'm I don't want to be paying fucking taxes and shit on things that are not good, And I get people also have allergies, so they have to eliminate the options. That's why probably some things at McDonald's aren't there anymore, but as well, and other fast food places. That's why Walmart got rid of their popcorn shrimp, but It's actually kind of concerning, too, because I'm like, there's ticks. Ticks, are carrying diseases and causing people to get allergic to stuff, like meats and stuff, so I'm just like, which I guess shrimp is a meat, but I'm like, what happens if we end up at a point where we get allergic to pretty much everything? Like, what are we gonna eat, I mean, that's kind of where the concern kind of comes in there, but I don't know, but I'm getting a little bit off track here, but their food's very limited, like the hospitals and all that. There's not a lot of options anymore, and at McDonald's, and also, they don't even have fucking eggnog shakes anymore. They haven't had those in a few years. Like, I can't remember the last year they actually had an eggnog shake there. Actually, a lot of restaurants haven't been having eggnog shakes. Steak and Shake's been doing them, and I think Dairy Queen does them. Dairy Queen's like expensive as hell, though. I guess to be fair, Steak and Shake, it kind of is too with their shakes, but I think I would still be paying less for that than at Dairy Queen. But yeah, Dairy Queen's a lot more expensive, but that's the reason I don't really eat Dairy Queen much either. Dairy Queen's probably the one that's probably the more expensive on the McDonald's and them. But McDonald's definitely has a lot of pricing problems. But like I said, them remodeling their locations and the people are complaining about the pricing. But I think the biggest problem is McDonald's is remodeling their locations. And they're taking away the color and the fun and trying to, use this whole kids bullshit thing to keep people out of the way. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm like, you guys are getting rid of, like, you guys got rid of Ronald McDonald and all these mascot characters and did all this shit because people were messing things up online and all that. But I'm like, you're listening to you're doing what Disney and some of these other corporations do. You're listening to the small audience here, not the majority of the audience. And, I'm like, with as many people that complain about this shit, you would think, if they're watching all this stuff, they'd be, like, trying to fix it, but... And that's what I thought maybe they were starting to do, because I made that Zootopia video and talked about how they're bringing back the older roof designs in the commercials. But then, now this is where I'm going to get to the video now. I've been talking a lot about what's going on now. But this is the part where this is really going to piss people off, if this is true, which it sounds like it is, because I think it came from McDonald's. But the CEO is talking about next year they're going to start opening up more locations. So, that may seem like a good thing, but again, they're probably going to be these ugly ass, modern designs possibly. But also, they're talking about making it more technical and getting rid of more staff. So we're going to have less staff in the workspace and all that. And now, don't get me wrong, I get that McDonald's is, I get McDonald's, a lot of times you'll go to a McDonald's and there aren't really people at the register, so you're just sitting there waiting. But I'm like, I'd rather have a human there than a fucking robot or something, running the damn place. Now, there's going to be humans still there, because they got to operate. There's going to be people operating stuff, but we're going to probably be seeing more, and not just McDonald's, but other places. We're going to see more and more of this stuff happening in the future. But McDonald's is talking about, like I said, they're going to talk about putting more, like future technology stuff in there, so they're basically going to double and triple down on the shit people don't want. And it's gonna cause some problems. It's gonna cause some problems, and yeah, they're gonna be opening like quite a few, thousand locations. I think was it 3,000 locations? Or no, wait, it was more than that. All the way to 2027. But I'm like, also, you're losing customers and are gonna cut your employees, because I'm like, that's the problem these companies want to do. They want to replace people because it's cheaper. But what they're gonna do is, this is what Disney is doing too, and not just Disney, they're just an example, but other companies, they're trying to, replace people with technology because they're losing money, and instead of fixing the problems, the CEOs get paid all this shit, and all this money, and they get people get kicked in the shins and all that for, that. I know it sounds funny the way I'm saying this, but I know I shouldn't probably be saying it like that, but I'm like, that's pretty much what they're doing. They're basically kicking them in the shins, or, giving them the finger and kicking them out, and replacing them with freaking technology, because you don't have to pay for the technology. I guess you gotta pay to run the technology, but it would still be probably cheaper than hiring some of these people and paying them like 20 per hour or something like that. But what they don't realize, though, here's what they don't realize: it's actually going to be they'll be kicking themselves in the shins, and all of that is what they be doing. They're going to be kicking themselves, or I guess I should just say in the behinds. That sounds better. In the behinds, because what's going to happen is, when these people get let go, they're going to go find somewhere else to work. Because, yeah, the studio sides and all, like I said, people in like Hollywood doing it, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to get jobs there. But, pretty much anybody can just open a fast food place up. There's, so many independent places doing it. Anybody can do it. I'm not kidding. Anybody can open up a fast food place or anything like that, and sure, it really takes some skill, but it's not really as much skill as creating a movie or making a studio or something like that, So it's gonna end up backfiring on them in the future because they're just gonna create more competition, and that's what I think's gonna happen. And I think what we're dealing with right now with all these modern places, I feel like we're going to get to the point where people are going to want to just make their own places, and then, they're going to want to make their own places, and, they're just going to be like, what, screw these other places, let's just make our own, and other people can come in and enjoy it, and I'm sure those places would eventually go downhill, when the owners pass on or something, because that's kind of what happened with, Wendy's and McDonald's and all that, too, and all these other corporations, they're not going to be the same after people pass away, but it shouldn't be like this, though. Like I said, it shouldn't be getting this bad, that's kind of the problem, and now, McDonald's has always had problems behind the scenes with some stuff, it feels like, but it was never this bad, and now it's really bad. And, I'm surprised they aren't closing down locations right now, but I think once they let the people go and they run out of things to cut, they're gonna probably start closing things down, I think they're gonna start doing that. Because they're going to run out of things to cut, and they're going to have to close places down. But that's pretty much where we're at right now. Yeah, McDonald's, it's not looking really that great in the future. It's such a shame, too, because they used to be my favorite fast food place. Yeah, I'm not kidding. They were like my favorite fast food place to go to. I wouldn't say my favorite restaurant. My favorite restaurant's probably Dragon Kitchen. Luckily they're still around. However, they got in kind of trouble with some finance stuff, so I was worried they were going to close one of them down. But it looks like they were able to pull themselves together, so that's good. But yeah, Dragon Kitchen's probably my favorite. It's always been, but McDonald's was my favorite in the past because of all the characters and, in the play areas and all that. Even though I can't play in the play areas now, I would be too big for them. You know, I'm just like, what, it would still be nice to be able to go to and eat and see them, and all that, or like I could watch some kids playing in the play area, just it'd be fun, to watch kids have fun, But unfortunately, yeah, it's not gonna be. It definitely is not McDonald's anymore. This is definitely not McDonald's, and I do hate to see it like this, but unfortunately, this is kind of how it is. But that's pretty much why I think they're doing this. They're not doing it because they're not doing it because they care about the company. They just care about making money, And just like any other corporation, the CEOs get paid a shit ton of money, and what they do is they try to make as much money off as crap as they can, and then screw other people over just so they can keep making money. And then when the businesses go out, then they shut the businesses down and they get the money, and then the CEO, then not the CEOs, the other people end up suffering for it, Like, I would like to see a point in time where these CEOs actually get their comeuppance for what they do, and they, actually get what they deserve. I mean, a few of them have gotten to court and gotten in trouble, but a lot of them don't get away with what they do. Like, and all that. Like, is the person in Crackle Barrel, is she still there, or she get fired? I can't remember if, she got fired or not, but she was, running her damn mouth and all that, and she should have got immediately fired. She was actually, flat out blaming America. Like, not kidding. She was literally on an interview, flat out blaming, what was that, an interview or on live TV? I don't know. She was on something and literally flat out blamed fucking America. Literally said that. Like, it's America's fault. Why, Crackle Barrel was failing and all that. I'm like, no, people just didn't like the new logo. It had nothing to do with politics. People just didn't like the man was removed from the barrel. It's like, it makes the logo look too simple. It's nothing to do with politics. They just didn't like it, it's kind of like, like those, that maple syrup and all that, or like, you guys remember the maple syrup, it had like a lady on it and all that. They kind of got rid of that, and people just want to see more of that, it's kind of nice. I mean, it's okay to have simple stuff sometimes, but when you go from having a simple logo to just to making a good logo and then going right back to making it very simple again, it kind of sucks. And Burger King, also did change their logo to an older one, but some people are kind of split on that one, though, but they're actually kind of going back to some things. However, it looks like they're going to monetize some of their stuff, too. It sounds like they're going to get rid of the King, which I'm like, that's like McDonald's getting rid of Ronald McDonald. You can't just get rid of your mascot. Maybe they'll replace him with another king, because they say he's creepy. I don't think he's creepy, in my opinion, but I think he's kind of weird. He doesn't, talk. I guess they decided to give him a costume, so that way they could keep the older king from the 80s. But I feel like it makes more sense just to hire a real person to play it, or make a cartoon of it, But I don't know, it's just kind of interesting, but I only saw that commercial because I wasn't watching the history of the Burger King stuff, and that's kind of where that, because I was like, Burger King had their club stuff too, but it didn't last very long like McDonald's did, but it would be good to see that again too. But I don't know, but I'm gonna go ahead and let the video go because this video's been on for a long time now. But I will go ahead and let the video go. But that's pretty much all I have to say about McDonald's. I hate you, McDonald's, so much now. I really do hate you. Like, you went from being my favorite fast food place to probably the absolute worst one. Maybe Wendy's might be worse, but Wendy's, I don't know, kind of back and forth on them, but both are really shitty. They're like at the bottom of like my fast food options now. They're pretty bad, but I don't know. I haven't been to a Wendy's in a little bit, but I'm just saying. But anywho, I'm gonna go ahead and let things go from here. I will see you all later. Bye bye.